I was born on November 23rd of 2019. My mother was there from the second I was born, just there. But I didn't really know much from the second I was born. I just knew she was my mother, and that's my source of food, sleep, and, well, I was quite a playful child, but anything I wanted, mother had to do with everything. But even when I was first born, she only spent little amounts of time with me, and she would ride off to talk to her dad again. At the time, I didn't know where she was, but, well, one day I decided I'd venture out to see where she was going. And to my surprise, she ran right down and started talking to my father. Well, no, that's what she had me call him, was my father, because I wasn't allowed to know who my real father was. And she was constantly talking to him, constantly. It seemed to me like they were bickering. I'd hear loud meowing in the distance. It seemed that they didn't like each other very much. Or little did I know, he didn't like me very much. Decided to head on over to see what their conversation was about after a lot of loud meowing began to silence. And I had never really met my grandfather before, so I decided it would be a good time to meet him. His name was Hurricane, and he was, well, really strong. I didn't really want to take my chances with him. I mean, my mom had me call him Pop, but he taught me everything I knew. Since after he passed, my mom was going to take over the clan, he taught me how to do my job, which was a medicine cat. I followed him around blindly, not knowing what he was teaching me, but he was my granddad, and spending any time with him at all was lucky. And I had no real father that I was aware existed, so, well, I didn't know I was supposed to have a father back then. We enjoyed some quality time together, and he taught me how to get medicine and herbs, and, well, my first herb was mistakenly eaten when I was supposed to put it away. He taught me how to be a medicine cat because ever since I was born, no one knew what to do with me. He talked to my mom about me being an apprentice and how that was going to be my new duty. And as soon as I had turned an apprentice, that was my full job. I'd work late into the nights and wake up at sunrise to be doing my duty. And I would do it. I'd just have to continue to collect berries and different types of herbs I would find and bring them to their destination. That was my permanent job, and I had no say in it otherwise because I didn't have a choice. You see, I was supposed to be a boy, and my father was not supposed to be a farm cat. He was supposed to be a delightful sweetheart from this group that my father chose. And I was supposed to be a boy because then I would do stuff correctly. And I would be their head leader of the warriors, and then when my mother passed, I would take over the clan. But I was a girl, so this is my only destiny. And my mother was being forced to have another child. Early mornings she'd be forced to wake up as well, so I'd sometimes just spend some time with her and question my life decisions. But I had to ask about my father now. I had to. I needed to know what he was or who he was. My mother ran off. She was busy doing her duties. But I needed to know. I just had to know. Mom? Well, I was just wondering, who's my father? I mean, I have the right to know, because I'm his daughter. I never really see any other guys around here, so...
I was afraid you'd ask that question someday. Well, honey, your father was a barn cat. There's this big, deep creek. I went adventuring one morning, and I saw a cat trapped. We bonded, and, well, he thought I was too bad for me, but he was the most handsome cat I'd ever seen. I had to have him. And, well, I took him back to my clinic, and eventually, well, we got pregnant, but then, well, everyone shooed away. Never seen him again.
Oh, that's kind of tragic. Where does he live?
He lives at the old barn. But don't visit him.
I just wanted to know who he was. Then all the cats teamed up against me. They went berserk and attacked. Life after that wasn't the same. I wasn't allowed back in my group, so, well, I just did what my parents did and went to all the historic places that they had major events in, like the river. I went down the hole and, well, daydreamed about what my parents could have done here, how much fun they had, and what my life would have been like if they would have just ran away together. And then I dreamed about all the wondrous things that could possibly have happened here, like other historic events. But eventually I decided it was time to go to the old farmhouse. And since I was forced against my own will to be a medicine cat, which I hated, I knew where stuff was. But my mother had a new boyfriend, which I didn't like, that was going to give birth to the rightful son they wanted. And I was an only kid, which was also kind of weird, but, well, they were going to have a litter of kids they wanted, which I had no problem with because I wanted nothing to do with them. But I headed to the barn and all the cats were acting a little suspicious. And since my life had been so traumatizing, well, I walked in the place like I owned it. And unfortunately, for the cats that weren't in charge, they fell to the ground. And all the other cats were enjoying life, so I went up and saw my father for the first time ever.